Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Spirit. I'm Rita G, and today we have a fascinating interview with Linda Armstrong. She is working with belief codes and the emotion code and the body code, and this is something having to do with clearing the subconscious mind of any negative thought beliefs, clearing the body of any negative thought beliefs. I've done it with her. It's fantastic. So let's do this. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Excellent. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
So, Linda, tell us a little bit about, I know you do a couple of different things, but I'd like everybody to understand the differences between what you do. So I know there's the emotion code, the body code, and the belief code. So give us a
Yeah,
little synopsis on each one of them and how they affect us, individuals.
sure. Well, they actually all work together. Dr. Bradley Nelson came up with the emotion code, expanded it into body code, and now has added belief code into it as well. So basically, we're talking about trapped energies in the body, right? Everything is energy, right? And everything that's affecting us is somehow lodged somewhere, not allowing the natural flow of how we ought to be operating as the created beings that we are, right?
Right.
So I've done many other healing modalities. I'm just finding that this one is getting better results quicker or easier. I don't know how you want to say that. Depends, because some things it's all different, right?
Right.
But the three, and I'm only right now working with these three codes because it seems to be what's giving people the most relief. So the emotion code is where it all started, and that's basically looking at the energy of an emotion trapped in your system, whether it's in your body and your energy field. And they think of it like the size of a fist, and it's just lodged wherever, right?
Okay.
So when you have experiences or injuries that you haven't been able to process all the energy out and some gets left behind, it may be left in as by the emotion that you were experiencing at that time, right? It didn't fully
Got it.
process out. Now it's trapped somewhere in the body.
Got it.
So we can find those things. With the emotion code, a big thing that gives people a lot of relief is removing the heart wall. So 97% of the population has a heart wall. It's just like this protective barrier filled up with all these emotions that occurred through experience you had in your life. Some of it's absorbed, some of it is inherited, passed
Mm.
on through ancestors.
Hmm.
Some of it we call preconception, like it came from another time before you took this body.
Okay.
Um, there could be, you could trap emotions within the womb, right?
Yep.
While you're still developing in your mom's body. And a lot of them are just common things from your own experience. There could be shared emotions where some traumatic thing happens in a group of people that experience at the same time might trap the same emotion at the same time.
You mean like if in another lifetime or something there was or even in this lifetime there was like an earthquake that affected, you know, I don't know, thousands
Yeah,
and thousands of people.
it's in this lifetime for shared. Otherwise, it's inherited, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So a good example, and I've had this come up for one of my clients, is 9/11.
Mm.
How many emotions were flying around then, and so many people experiencing at the same time.
Sure.
So when you clear that emotion, if there was an experience, whatever that was, I know I had some shared emotions with when my sister passed with me and my family. So when you clear it for yourself, you're clearing for anyone else who happened to trap that emotion at that time. That's what happens with
Oh,
inherited emotions, with shared emotions. And absorbed. You can absorb it. You're empathic, right? You probably absorb emotions from people all the
I
time.
don't even forget it. Okay. Yeah, I get that. And I'll tell you, when I did some of this work with you, um, that in of itself, like carrying other people's stuff was I was feeling coming out of me as well. Not just my own stuff, but other people's stuff that I was hanging on to that I didn't
Right.
even know I was hanging on to,
Right.
you know?
That's the thing. You don't know. And with the body, emotion code, body code, belief code, like right now, I was just talking about emotion code. So,
Right.
body code goes into the body. Like there's a whole system that Dr. Bradley Nelson made up by just logging his experience with he was a chiropractor with the results he was getting for his patients because he was also into computer programming. So he started mapping out all these different things and their correlation, how he would find energy within people's bodies and release
Okay.
it, right? By manipulating the bones at first, but then it moved into more of this just energetic thing. So I'll tell you, and you know this, but for people who don't, the way we clear this energy is we run our hand or a magnet over the governing meridian. So there's a meridian system. If you've had acupuncture, you know about that. And the governing one starts at the top of the lip, goes all the way back and around down the spine. So anywhere we carry electricity in our body. So it could be your hand. I like to use a magnet. And anywhere on that governing meridian that you just wipe this magnet over, it allows that energy to just
dissipate,
dissolve, be rid of. So that's what that does. But the body code, the system he came up with, it takes you everywhere. It takes you into every physical part of your body, every bone, organ, muscle, parts of the brain, like all of it, and releases the energy that is stored or trapped within those places, right?
Okay.
You can have, I do a whole brain balancing thing where you could have parts of your brain, they're just not communicating like they ought to be communicating with each other. There's blockages in the way, some sort of an imbalance. So there's energy that's mucking up the works.
Got it. Okay.
And that goes into not only the body, it's called body code, but it goes into the whole spirit body, aura, chakras, nutrition and lifestyle, ridding yourself of toxins, of pathogens, which can be inherited. Like you can have an inherited virus energy trapped within you that you were born with from some ancestor, right? And that could be lodged anywhere within your body. But the thing is, we find them, we release them, and with those inherited ones, not just for you, but for other people. So that's what really thrills me when those things come up, because I know I'm not just helping that person there. I'm helping a lot of other souls, wherever they may be in the cosmos, right? We're releasing that energy for your kids. Like I've released stuff for myself that then when I was working on my son with even the same, like one time I was working on financial stuff, right? And I cleared all this inherited stuff. And then my son's like, hey, I want to do that one too. So I take care of him, and everything inherited was my husband's. I hadn't done this work on my husband yet. So I didn't clear his stuff, but I cleared mine. Nothing showed up from me, nothing, because I already did the work, right? I've had that happen with him, like way in the beginning, even though I was only doing motion code at that time. And I released inherited depression on the mom side, me. And I also teach karate. So later in the day, after I give him a session in the morning, I'm teaching karate. All of a sudden I have some kind of a release. I'm like, wow, what the heck was that? It took me a few minutes to oh my God, did I work on myself? What was I doing? Then I remember I cleared that for him. I'm like, oh, wow, this stuff really works. So I keep having all these experiences showing me that it works. So that's really cool. It's nice to get that confirmation.
Oh my God, it's the best feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then the third one is the belief code. So I was waiting for this to come out. I mean, I could not wait till they offered this. I knew it was in the works for a while. And it was released at like midnight, which was 2:00 my time from where they released it. I signed up. I was probably the first person to sign up for this thing. I was up, right? I'm like, hey, I'm signing up right now. I couldn't wait. I did the course in like 2 weeks. You have 6 months to do it, but I just was hammering it, right? Giving tons and tons of sessions because it was part of the course, right? And because I've done theta healing, right? I've worked with belief work of different things for so long. So I'm like, well, what's he going to do with this belief work? How are we going to clear that? So I wanted to find out. And I'm finding for me, a lot of the things, things I worked on, it's like the financial stuff. A lot of that was worked out through emotion code and even body code, because it told you it goes into all this other spiritual aspects, right? So now I had done work on the finances, right? With body code, emotion code, and it brought up, because body code brings up a lot of this energy, like a broadcast message, signal you're constantly sending out, all these different aspects. A will to, you have a will to fail. You could have a will to fail. You could have no will to heal, no will to succeed. Like these energies could be in there, and the body code picks them out. But now the belief code picks out a whole belief system and releases that. Like there's different parts of the system. It's more than just one belief. They're all connected together. Sometimes there could be a parallel system which we did for you. You had a parallel system where there were three whole belief systems working with each other, right?
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
had that come up a few times with people. In fact, one of my clients, she's on video of me working with that, and her thing was getting herself out into the world. She's an animal communicator. She didn't realize that she actually is until she started coaching with me. I'm like, do you realize the gift you have? She's like, doesn't everybody have this? Yeah, she didn't even know it was different.
Right, right.
So she steps
Love
into that
that.
whole world through coaching we did earlier. And then she's coming up against a wall of like really getting out there and creating courses. So she's like, that's what I want to work on. We find this parallel system, three parts of it. We clear all of that. And all of a sudden now she's like inspired. She's creating the program. She already let one of them out. She did a live thing. She's creating her course around it. She has a farm. And now she's building all this stuff around because she has all these animals that she never goes to the vet for because she figures it all out on her own.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
She's like a
letting go
doctor.
of those beliefs
Yeah.
wholly opened it up for her. And she's like, you know what? I got to get another package because I got a lot of work to do. Because now that I'm like free, I want to just clear anything else in the way, right? So sometimes the results are quick. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes there's more to do. Like with myself, when I mentioned working on finances, I hit that a few times. And then when it came to get it with the belief code, did all that, right? And I still felt there was something there. So I'd ask different questions around that. And then I
Okay.
found I had another like belief system. Two of them. They're called partial, where like maybe you pulled out. Well, let me just explain. I know I'm talking fast because I'm excited. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
The belief code looks at a belief system as like a tree. You have the picture of the tree. You've
Okay.
got negative programs and negative programs up at the top, the leaves and the branches. Then you get into the trunk, limiting beliefs. You go into roots, it's a faulty core belief, and maybe into the soil level, which is a faulty core identity.
Oh.
So
Okay.
you got to pull the whole thing out to release the energy around it, not just parts of it.
Oh, so you got to go to the root, like.
Well, you get down to the root, but that you have all the things connected, you release it all together, right? So we find out anything associated to it, we clear it, we pull the beliefs. Maybe we have to replace some, we replace some, and that's it. So the reason I'm telling you that is in the partial system, maybe you took out whole systems, but for some reason, through all the work, people like us, we've done a lot of healing work on ourselves, right?
Right.
We've been around this world for a while. And you could have these like stranded beliefs, like they look at it like with the tree symbology, a bunch of leftover logs, a bunch of branches and twigs you didn't clear away. They're still hanging around.
Right.
So I found two more systems with my financial thing that's going on of just these random beliefs. All right. So
Right.
I pick all of those out, clear all that. And I have to tell you, everything's taking off so much. So it's like, I don't even feel that there's anything I have to effort about or worry about but it took a while. I had to
Oh,
do like
yeah.
not just one thing. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's quick.
I was going to say it probably depends on how deep it is and how attached you are to it, not even knowing it. It's not,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, I would imagine that it takes, a few times for it to really unhook itself, because that's what I feel
Yeah.
like they're hooks.
Yeah. Well,
And some people are, even with myself, sometimes you're so attached to that hook, you don't know what your life is without the hook,
yeah.
so you really have to take that leap of faith and say, I want to see what it's like without that, you
Yeah.
know,
I
without
can
that.
give you an example. So I've worked with releasing anxiety for a lot of people, and it happens, right? I had one woman who was stabbed 15 times by her boyfriend, right? So she has all kinds of trauma and anxiety
God,
that came from
can't
all of that
even.
fear
Sure.
of, it can't sleep. Anyway, she's like good now. We worked on it for a while. I've been working with her for a while, but she's like so good. All of that's gone. But then I had this other woman really needs the help, right? So much anxiety. Her whole family's just getting tired of her, dealing with her. So
Along with her anxiety, you mean? They're
with
getting
her in
tired of
general,
hearing.
it's all around her anxiety. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Like they're
got it.
tired of hearing her talking about and all that. So
Right.
and she came to me through a friend of hers who I've been working with, who I helped with all kinds of stuff to do with her cancer she was working with.
Oh,
So
great.
this woman with the anxiety, the reason I'm telling you is I gave her like 2, maybe 3 sessions. No, it's not working. I'm not going to do it anymore. Like, okay, it's your choice. But I knew from day one, and I'm not putting my bias out there, but I wanted to break through it, that she's married to it.
Right.
Right. I'm like, okay, my challenge is how am I going to divorce her from that?
Sure. No, and
Yeah.
some people won't, they
Some
won't.
people won't.
Yeah. But you did.
No, I didn't. She didn't come back.
She didn't come back. Okay.
No, I wasn't a successful one because she wasn't ready to commit. It could have been. I mean, I've helped other people. Anxiety, I find, is kind of one of the more easier ones.
Well, because I think once people get to the bottom of whatever it is, it disperses very easily. It's just, it's anxiety is like fear-based things that don't even exist, that we put in our own minds that, well, this could happen, or this could happen, or this could happen. But the
Yeah.
truth of it is none of it's happened yet, most of the
Well,
time.
and I think also they're hoping that it goes away like this.
Well, that's the other thing. People want the quick fix, but we do have to do some work on ourselves to
If
get to
it's been
that.
building up for she's in her 70s. If it's been building up for so many years,
Exactly.
like we need a miracle. And I always ask for a miracle every time. Let's do it.
Why not?
One and done. I'd be so happy.
Oh my God. Exactly. Yeah. And I would imagine you'll come across that because I feel like that's when people are like super ready. They don't, they don't hold back anything. They just surrender it all, and boom, like that, it's done. So
and the trick is, for those who don't have that, it may not be that they're not ready. Well, I guess it kind of is, but there's just maybe some aspect of it we didn't get to.
exactly.
It just takes a little bit more going, chipping away, having that inspiration come in. Okay, now you're ready for this. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Now you're ready for this part. Now we can go deeper because we got that layer of stuff that needed to come out first. Exactly. So we could even see what's underneath that. I mean, I'm finding that sometimes it seems like that's what happens as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So does anybody have to do anything to prepare for the session, or do you do anything to prepare for it?
No, I just make sure that I'm hydrated, and I ask my client that they be hydrated because I'm muscle testing, right? I muscle test with this finger here, if it's strong as a yes and weak as a no. So I'm muscle test. I connect to their energy. I muscle test for them. So everything that comes through, it's not me as Linda, it's the person I'm working with. And that's how the beauty of it, their subconscious mind guides me to everywhere to go within this program, because even the belief code is like a program. It's an app that I use, that I'm trained to use, that Dr. Nelson came up with. Let's see if I can show it to you on my phone. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel where you can see it in the works, but it's basically an app, right?
I see it. Yep.
And then we click on energy, and you go to all these other things, and it could be offensive, like entity, curse type energy, saboteurs, courting, things like that. Emotional, mental is all these other, like will tos, no will to, broadcast message, like cool. I get excited. For me, it's cool stuff to be able to label some of these energies and find them specifically for that. You could have an allergy to an idea. The idea of being well, you could be allergic to it, right?
Right.
Or you can have an intolerance to the idea of success. It's just, you just can't have that. So we have to correct the faulty connection to that, so that, okay, now I'm free to be able to experience this thing called health or wealth or whatever it might be.
Yeah. I had something in my head I wanted to ask, and now it flew right out. But let me just. All right, it'll come back to me. But so you've said you've helped, or you've seen a lot of success with anxiety. What else have you seen success with this?
All sorts of physical things that I do with myself and with other people, but I like to work on myself a lot. So I, see, well, what's working here. Like I had a thing with like nocturnal leg cramps at night, and I did it was gone, but then it kind of creeped up again, right? I'm like, oh, what the heck is going on? So like I hit it again. I find out, what more was there. I have to say, I had to do this session on myself 3 times before it's totally gone now. But what I learned is I had a leg cramp the other night, and I'm like, okay, is there something I need to work on that I'm not seeing? So now my system is like, oh, that's a good one. If we give her leg cramp, she'll work on herself. Because a lot of times at this point, I'm kind of neglect myself, and I'm working on a lot of other people, right? So when I ignore myself enough, something like that, which always got my attention,
Right.
and it's like, didn't I clear this? I'm like, yes. Was there something going on? Yes. And I'm not seeing it? Yes. Okay, so work on myself. And then I work on myself for what, I ask some questions, find out what is it I need to do, and clear it, and then it's gone. So it's kind of interesting, like the way the energy works. But
well,
yeah, I've worked on.
I would imagine if you're working, the amount of time you're working on yourself, you're going to feel it even quicker if something's out, because you're clearing, right? So if something comes up for you, you're going to notice it like that. And for me, like you, for me, it's the physical body. Like it's definitely for me to pay attention to, if I'm missing something or I'm remissing something, physical body immediately. And then I'm like, oh, pay attention, what's going on? So I totally get that. Totally.
That's what I've learned through doing this. That's what I've learned about me anyway, myself, and even some of the people I work with. Something comes up, and you think we're going to find all this stuff to do with this muscle pain they have, right? But all this other stuff comes up.
Yeah.
And the muscle pain goes away. You're like, okay, so that's what brought us here.
Right. So I do have I remember the question I had. So if someone came to you in person, would you actually physically muscle test them, or do you still do it yourself?
Either way, I just can move through myself a lot faster. Like for my family, they live in my same house. I just muscle test for them. They either sit there or they're somewhere else in the house doing something, and I'm doing the work for them. They don't even have to be in my space. We just have to have the connection to the subconscious mind. So I don't even do in-person sessions anymore. I do everything's online.
Everything's online. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us? Like, especially where people can find you, but is there anything else about this, system that you would like to share with anyone?
No, I think that a cool thing to do if this has piqued your interest, you could go to my YouTube channel or anybody else's. There's a lot of them out there showing demonstrations of how this works. So you could even like look at it and say, oh, man, how's that resonate with me ahead of time? Or you can just get in touch with me from my website, lovemylife.coach. Or email me, Linda@lovemylife.coach, and then we can, you can set up like a little consult. We can talk about it. We can email about it, or you can just book a session and find out for yourself.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you, Linda, for coming on. Appreciate it. I'm sure everybody's going to want to experience this. I know I love it. And I'm going to set up another appointment with you. So, yeah, I urge everyone really to check it out. It's fascinating. It is. Anything having to do for me with the subconscious mind is fascinating, because I feel like all our stuff is there, ready to be released and healed, whatever doesn't serve us,
Absolutely. So, and all we have to do is ask questions. The subconscious mind will let us know, right?
100%.
So, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
All right, my love. Then we will see each other soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Take care, sweetie.
All right. Bye.
Bye.